What's up, guys? Nightingale here, bringing you my Bum to Billionaire one-off 7 Deadly Sins gold guide. I've been promising my chat this for probably 3 months or so. Some of them even thought I forgot about it, and they try to remind me, and I'm like, I haven't forgot, I'm just compiling a bunch of data. Well, today's the day. I'm gonna reveal the data to you. That's right. Everything's gonna be laid out there, and I'm even gonna prove some YouTubers wrong who've already stated stuff in their gold guides before. They're wrong. So, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips today. Some of the tips are for more beginner players. Some of the tips are for super in-game players. So hopefully this guide will give you something to go by and grow with as you play 7 Deadly Sins. So let's get to the first tip. First tip, Scraps Captain. Captain of the Order of Scraps Disposal. Master, Lord Piglet. Sir Hawk. Or just simply, Hawk. Or side dish, bacon, whatever. It's your choice. But here, Hawk actually serves a couple cool functions inside your tavern. One, he's the interface for changing how your tavern looks as far as interior-wise, and then he also functions as the interface for what you serve inside your tavern. Now, early on in the story, you're tasked with putting a food into your tavern to help generate customers. Now, it doesn't matter what foods you serve, the customers are gonna eat it no matter what. The revenue is based upon the timer, which is a 1-hour timer, a 3-hour timer, or a 24-hour timer, and your revenue will be generated around that. Now, a couple of YouTubers have gotten some information wrong here, and we're going to set the record straight with numbers. We're gonna utilize this wonderful section right here for all the math, and hopefully I will try to keep this as simplistic as possible to not try to confuse you. So, for the sake of the video, we're just gonna go ahead and wipe out category of the 3-hour variations. Goodbye. You are not needed. And we're gonna talk about the 1-hour and the 24-hour foods here. So, I'm gonna set a list right here of the foods that I'm gonna be talking about, which is, to start with, the 24-hour foods. Now, why am I starting with the 24-hour foods? Because I feel like it is, this is where most people are going to look at going, hey, bang, I see big numbers, I'm going to add it. Some of these are actually useful. Some of these are used in PvP or alt rush metas. Some of them are affinity foods, but we're not going to care necessarily what their functions are, just more about the numbers. And I'm specifically going to focus in on the ones that are slightly more expensive. So I'm looking at the level 1 foods that start at 4.5 thousand per level 1, which when they're ranked up to level 5, they're worth 34,426 gold per day. So early on, you probably are looking at this going, great, I see big number, it's gonna tick once a day, and I'm gonna get that. Great. Well, if you were to go that route, you are looking at 34,426 gold a day, or 240,982 gold a week off of that one dish cycling. So if you happen to have all 6 added in, you are getting roughly 1,445,892 gold a week for having 6 of those running in your tavern. Now, what if I told you everyone is wrong? That is not the way to run it. That's right. You have probably overlooked the 1-hour foods. Why? Because you see 220 gold, you scoff and say, no. Some of you may have already figured this out. So, to go into this a little bit further, when leveling it up, a level 5, 220 gold dish is 1,684 gold per hour. It's 40,416 gold a day, or 282,912 gold a week. Now, let's amplify that. Now let's say we have all 6 running. That's 10,104 gold an hour, 242,496 gold a day, and yeah, it is 1,697,472 gold a week for having all 6 slots filled with this. So that's right, you actually are losing 251,580 gold a week by using your 24-hour foods. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, and you're correct, but let's put it this way. In 1 month, you are losing 1,006,320 gold a month. Yes, I did the math. Got no life. But I did the math, and yeah, that's 12 million gold a year. Now, it doesn't really seem like that a lot, but you know what? We're going at it specifically to say we're trying to min-max the amount of gold you get daily. So, the verdict is, the 1-hour foods give you more gold per hour than the 24-hour gold foods. So, while they may be a little less efficient in what they are used for, it's still worth leveling them up and having them sitting in your tavern as the foods. Now, some of you may be like, well, I want to make sure my friends have, can get their CC food or HP food or whatnot. Cool, that's up to you. This is if you want to be min-max and get the maximum amount of gold you can out of your tavern. That is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is do your event gold and your gold dungeons twice a day. What I mean by that is come over here to events, event gold, and clear the highest one you can clear twice a day. Now, this one slows down dramatically. This is a much slower timer than your gold dungeon. So you might only be able to do 1 or 2 of these runs, maybe 3 runs a day, depending on how your timers are running. But just clear them out, whatever your timer is at, and then come down to gold and do the same here. Now, the thing to note with this one is it's a little bit easier. You only need 68,000 CC, so pretty much anybody who can get, 70,000 CC, 80,000 CC should be able to do these with, I say ease, it just is going to come down to the characters that you have on your account, but these shouldn't be an issue, and it shouldn't take you that long to get to the point where you can start clearing the max level ones twice a day. And why I say twice a day is, let's talk about the timers, is the event dungeon has a cap of 5, but these take significantly longer to regenerate. And the gold keys take significantly less time, but it also has double the keys. Each of them give you 5 runs at max capacity. So basically the goal here is to not sit at max capacity. So you don't want to log on and see that you have 10 out of 10 of your gold keys just sitting there, or 5 of your event dungeons. And try to do them on repeat. Now, tip 2.5, I'm going to give you a 0.5 tip. Don't spend these extra keys you get until gold boost weekends. And typically by that I mean don't do them on half stam weekends. There's another tip coming up in a minute that's going to cover that. But during half stam weekends, you want to be going somewhere else. So I typically do this every other week. I spend all my keys and I run the Solgres dungeon while we have the gold boost active, which is every weekend, but we want to do it every other weekend that's not half stamina. And the same for these. Try not to do, if you have any extra keys just laying around, I don't. Don't spend these, again, until the gold boost weekends, just to try to maximize your gold output. So every other week, run this. It'll probably take you about an hour to go through it all. You can clear ticket it. It's the same results, the same RNG. You don't feel cheated out of it at all. All right, tip number 3. All right, tip number 3, the Veronica Buff. Now, this is going to be for newer players or early supporting, kind of returning players who hadn't been playing for a while and missed the new update. I'm going to post from the patch notes right here, and I'm going to go over this really quickly. So, for those of you who don't know, Veronica gives you a 20% selling buff. Now, it's not what you can sell in your inventory. You need to go to either a PvP vendor, your guild vendor, or any vendor, or any town vendor to get this buff applied. And what she does is she will, anything that you can sell to the vendor gets a 20% buff in its gold. Now, that's pretty huge. So, in order to get it, you need to get to Chapter 3, Episode 25, Capital of the Dead, and you can summon her once a week for free. Once a week. It used to be once a day for free, but now it's once a week. So now this is where the kind of hard part comes in. Now you have to rush through Chapter 7, Episode 122, which is Druid's Sacred Lands, to get the permanent buff. That's right. We now get it permanently, where we don't have to run around, do the little mini game of go find the food she wants, come back, sell it, and then go. Now you can just walk up to a vendor, get 20%, and sell. Now, why is this a tip? Is because you can, this is where you want to sell your gold chests. All the chests you get during story missions, events, ads, your gold dungeon, anywhere. This is where you want to sell things like that. Also, if you're selling just random affinity items or food stuff where you're just trying to clear out some inventory, try to sell it here. Things that don't apply to Veronica Buff are like chalices. Your red book farming stuff doesn't apply here, so you just sell that out of your inventory, but everything else, there's MasterCard. No, for everything else, you want to sell to either a, I typically go to the Knighthood, it's the fastest load-in. Also, PvP is probably the second fastest load-in. You go sell to either one of those vendors. All right, so that's tip number 3. Okay, tip number 4 is red book farming on half-stam weekends. So what do I mean by weekends is Monday through Wednesday is boss battles, Thursday and Friday is free stages, and Saturday and Sunday is Solgra's Dungeon. So when we're in Solgra's Dungeon, we want to try to do this with half stamina. Why? Is because the stage normally costs 14 stamina per run. So for newer players, your goal is to come in here and get to floor 6 as soon as possible. It says it has a 68,000 CC requirement, but I feel like you probably need 100,000, 120,000 to really start clearing this effectively, or maybe even to survive. My JP account started off pretty good, so I was able to do it relatively fast, but depends on really who you pull. Newer players right now are given one go through for free after 30 days. Pulling a SSR Hauser might be a little difficult. He is in the coin shop, so you can buy him for 30 gold coins or 20 gold coins, depending on when he's on sale. Gila is a gold coin unit, so you can get her. She's a SR unit. She's a lot cheaper to level up. But you want to 6/6 Gila's alt. I know this is going to hurt the beginning free-to-players' hearts, because those gold coins can potentially buy you Hauser, but you want to try to get her alt 6/6 as soon as possible for red book farming. Now let's talk about the synergies of the characters here and why this team is set up from left to right in this order. First off, Gila you want on the left. Why? Because you want her alt to be prioritized first. If you didn't know, the left alt goes off first. Her passive is really unique, and it fills up the ultimate move gauge by 1 orb if the hero does not take damage the next turn. So the goal is you want to make sure you're clearing each phase, whether it be 3 cards or 1 card. You want to be clearing each phase without taking damage. Nobody's attacking you. So she's going to get her alt rushed very, very easily. Hauser has AoE cards and an AoE alt. Great. He is giving Gila increased attack stat, or well, all basic stats by 8%. Great. Her attack's going to be a little bit higher. Gother's passive is another synergy here, where he increases all allies' attack by 10% at the start of the next turn if the hero doesn't take damage, and it stacks up to 5 times. Well, here's the thing. There's only 2 turns before you hit the boss stage. So you'll get a 20% attack stat, maybe. Well, actually, no. You're going to get the 20% because he will attack you in some shape, form, or another. So you won't get the, you'll lose the stack by the final turn. But it's okay. If you get to that point, you should be within 3 skills of killing him anyway. But still, you'll get a 20% boost to Gila on top of everything else. Merlin is here for her alt orb, and that's really, really, really it. She's literally here for her passive. Other than that, she has no purpose in the dungeon. For people who don't have Merlin, have not pulled Merlin, whatever, Death Pierce could be an option, which increases or decreases their crit resistance and their crit defense, so that hopefully their attacks hit a little bit harder. But you want Merlin's alt orb over anything else. because you're trying to alt rush Gila. This is tip number 5. Beginners, newer players, close your eyes. This is gonna hurt your soul for what I'm about to tell you. I've been there and I understand, but this is for super advanced in-game players. Ignore everything I'm about to say if you are not at this point. Who is a super advanced in-game player? You have 6-starred your entire box. The entire box. Or all characters you have summoned. Alright? So, some of you probably already know exactly where I'm going. So, the next tip is selling your chalices after you 6-star your entire box. Remember, the Veronica Buff does not apply to this. This is sold just like your red books. Now, why do I say this is a gold tip? For those of you who don't know, a 5-star chalice and a 5-star book are 36,000 gold a piece, which means a stack of 99 is worth 3,564,000 gold per stack of 99. 3-star chalices and 3-star books are worth 3,000 silver a piece, and their stack of 99 is worth 297,000 a piece. Now, why is this an issue for beginners? You need every chalice that you can get for every character you need. You want to get your box eventually 6-starred. Why? Just because it's progression. There's going to be some stages where you're going to need, coming later on, where you're going to need advanced characters. So 6-starring your box is a long-term goal. It's taken me 6 months to do it myself. So new players, like I said, it hurts. It's cringeworthy. I know you're sitting there going, but those chalices. But here's the thing. Once we've 6-starred our boxes and we've built up stacks, it's okay to sell these chalices. It is worth it. It's basically 3 extra days of gold farming with blue stones. And that's the second part I want to kind of quickly touch in, being that this is a gold guide, but I will say this is where you can get some advantages, because not only are you getting blue stones, you're getting gold from your chalices. So it works. It's, you know, it feels dirty to newer players, but for in-game players who have stacks, I would always recommend just keep 1 stack of each chalice, 1 stack of each book, and then sell everything that is excess of that. And this way, no matter who comes out, what comes out, you always have a stack or whatever to upgrade a character that is released, or to be able to convert to something else if you need it, because there are occasional events where they do some conversion rates. So that's tip number 5, is selling the chalices. Again, only after you 6-star your entire box, or your active box. Alright guys, since you hung in throughout the whole video, I'm going to give you 3 hidden bonus tips that didn't quite warrant their own subjects, but these tips are for you guys who hung in throughout the whole video. First tip is, watch your 3 daily ads in your mail. Each one of these with a 20% buff gives you 45,000 silver SSR chests, assuming you have the 20% buff, which is 135,000 gold a day for just watching 3 ads in your mail, which also equates to 945,000 gold a week for just watching a minute 30 worth of ads every day. Bonus tip number 2. Watch for event gold stages, and those typically show up in your battle events inside your battle tab. This could be collaboration events where there's a stage that has gold, or just random events where they say, hey, farm this stage so many times and get this. So that's tip number 2, and tip number 3 is when in patrols, pick the gold daily. Typically, you want to try to collect these twice a day. Again, so for those of you who are clearing the dungeons twice a day, try to clear your clear ticket or your patrol gold at the same time. And this way, it doesn't cap out, or this way it never caps, which the cap is 125,000 gold it can store in its meter. And this way, that's constantly ticking as well. And it can be collected at any point in time. As soon as it has the ability to be collected, it's not like it multiplies up. It's the same gold factor throughout the entire time. So those are my 3 bonus little hidden tips for you guys who stuck in throughout the whole video. And yeah, good luck on your gold farming. Alright guys, there it is, my Bum to Billionaire video for 7 Deadly Sins. Hopefully you found a tip or 2 in here that you didn't know or didn't realize it worked quite that way. It's a lot of numbers, and I'm sorry if I confused you guys. If you do have questions, hit me up in the comments below. I'll be happy to help you out. Like I said, I tried to throw something in there for everyone and try to get you guys as efficient as possible with gold. Now, to sum this up, does this mean you have to farm 24 hours a day to be the most efficient with gold? No. This is just telling you where it's at and how to obtain it and the most efficient ways to do it. So yeah, I thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you would like to stay up to date with the latest information. If you would like to come hang out with me live on Twitch, my link is down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.